so easy to forget that your grandparents' lives existed long before you did. The years of their youth almost seem more like fable than fact, a series of stories told over cups of tea and family dinners. So much of what I learnt about in Year 10 history was just daily life for them. So what was life like in 20th century Sydney? Dorothy Joan Meredith was born on the 14th of February 1931 to Doris Talby and Ernest William George Meredith. Ernest was on the water board, so they moved from Bargo to Campbelltown while she was still very young. Their house in Campbelltown was across the road from the town hall, so Joan and her older sister Faye used to watch the people dancing every Friday night. It was there that she thinks she first found her love of dancing. Joan was 9 when the Second World War began. She doesn't remember much of it, as the children weren't told a lot. Their parents wouldn't even let them read the paper. But in 1942, when the Japanese subs made attacks on Sydney Harbour, Joan and her siblings were sent back to Bargo to stay with their grandparents. Many children were sent to the countryside at this time, with the belief that they would be safer there. From a very young age, Joan had to prove she was a hard worker, and often looked after her younger brother and sister. When Joan was 11, she headed back to Bargo again to look after her grandmother after she'd broken her leg. She was always industrious and ended up spending a whole year with them as their housekeeper. When she returned, her family moved to Marylands, where she went to MacArthur Girls High in Parramatta. Academics were never a focus for Joan. She would rather dance and sing. She used to sit on the back fence with her friend Mary and chat instead of doing her homework. Joan's father drank and often abused her mother, so those afternoons with Mary quickly became a form of escapism. Looking after a house and a family of 6 was no easy task, so Joan left school at 14 to help her mother run the household. Just working at home wasn't enough though, and Joan quickly found herself a part-time job. A week before her 16th birthday, Joan left home. She was tired of her father's antics and refused to put up with him any longer. She rented a room in Auburn and worked at a factory, putting the "mama" squeakers in dolls. Chasing the money trail, Joan worked at Damon Brothers, tailoring in the city, as well as a delicatessen. All the while, she never forgot her love of dancing and continued to attend the town hall every Friday and Saturday night. It was there that she met Evan Rodney Loveday when she was 16 and a half. He was only in Sydney for a month before his ship sailed to Japan, but she stayed faithful, writing to him 3 times a week. He wrote to her every day, but she operated on a treat him mean, keep him keen policy. It clearly worked, and he proposed the next time he was in Sydney. Being married to a sailor wasn't easy. Rod was away for 6 months at a time. Joan was living in a little flat in Girraween and worked at the local spinning mills. She hated it, but kept at it until she'd saved up enough money to buy a little block of ground and their first car. Talk about a working woman. Rod got a loan of £2,700 from the Navy to build their house, the prettiest in the district. It was there that they had their first child, Donald Evan Loveday. In 1959, an American evangelist came to Australia on a mission that later became known as the Billy Graham Crusade. During that time, Joan gave her life to Christ and still maintains that it is the best decision she's ever made. When Don was 13, they moved to French's Forest. Joan was straight back into work, first cashiering for a firm called G&G, then working in the haberdashery section of Fleming's. From there, she went on to Woolworths, and finally worked for Grace Brothers for the next 14 years. We often think of the women of the 50s as entrenched in gender roles, but Joan's incredible work ethic proved that this was not always the case, as she balanced her family, work, and church life with incredible finesse. A lot has changed over the course of Joan's life, but some things never do. Her modelling poses have lasted the test of time. She knows when she's onto a good thing. She never shied away from work and was always ready to roll up her sleeves and pitch in. Her ability to make friends in all walks of life and hold on to them is a testament of the love that she shows to everyone around her. And finally, her commitment to Christ and her family surpasses all things.